Yeah. All right. So, Mahaffey, I'm going to actually lean heavily on you for this first one in the state of gaming this week. Windows 11 came out, which to me is exciting because this is kind of like the first big like facelift I've seen from Windows in a while. Although I'm not a Windows guy per se, I do respect the PC. Whilst working at the fruit stand with you, we had to kind of support the PC world a little bit with
Right.
iTunes and things of that nature. But what I do like is that, back when I was in college, it was definitely still this like versus mode for Mac versus PC. And now you're looking at the facelift for Windows 11, and you're seeing a lot of things kind of taken from Apple, right? A
Yeah.
center taskbar, we got like little fuzzy like borders and lines and soft colors. It's definitely different than what we've seen in the past. That I don't see the signature start button really, but I'm interested to see what
Right.
happens. But I think this facelift is kind of coming at an expense. The biggest question I had from coworkers the past several days was, have you seen a performance increase? Some are saying yes, some are saying no. But I think you're seeing a lot more in the details with what you do every day.
Yeah. Well, actually, we are not allowed to update yet to Windows 11. But, with any major launch of a new operating system, there's always going to be problems. So I normally wait until the .1 release. I tend to really wait until then. That's when they usually get all the bugs pretty much worked out. But some of the major issues that we've seen with the Windows 11 launch is like there's apparently something called the Intel killer networking software that is just flat out incompatible with Windows 11. Apparently, VirtualBox, which I know a lot of people use to kind of.
Good night, Dad.
Yep. Good night. The VirtualBox, it's kind of like being able to run multiple operating systems on your machine
Yeah.
is also incompatible. Memory leaks all over the place. I mean, this is a major overhaul for Windows. So, of course, there's going to be issues. If you're chomping at the bit to get that Apple feel on your PC, I would really just try to temper it and wait until there's a patch out.
No, it's definitely a good call. I think it's the same thing with this new update that's coming out for Mac in the next couple of weeks. I really tend to jump the gun a little early on that, and it always tends to bite me in the ass. I think
Yeah.
even this go around, it'll be something like, "Oh, hey, Docker no longer works," and that'll completely f my entire day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
week and job. So I really have to kind of tiptoe around when things work. Luckily, last time I was kind of like apprehensive, and then like 2 days later, you heard people just going like, "Oh my God, the world's on fire! I've got to reset everything and like start
Right.
over." It's like, "Ooh, did you back everything up?" No, I didn't. Oh, why not? Oh, it's a work computer. Well, you still got to back it up. But
Well, even in Windows 10, about a month ago there was a 0-day vulnerability. A 0-day vulnerability means that
yep.
there's an exploit that they discover before the patch goes live, but after it's too late to fix it.
Yeah.
Um, and so they put out an update pretty quick, and then that update had a 0-day exploit.
No.
So you had to
No.
update again. Yeah. So things are complicated now with
Things
operating
are
systems and whatever.
complicated. Speaking of things being complicated, how unaffected were you by the Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp world being down this past week?
I first of all, hey Oshan, in the
Hey,
chat.
Sean!
But I get on Instagram. There are musicians I follow on Instagram that's their main platform. Um, but as well as I do that was coming back
Yeah,
up. So I don't get
yeah.
on Facebook ever. I don't use WhatsApp. It didn't bother me at all. What I found interesting though were all the stories about like people not being able to get into the office that day.
See, that to me is like the bigger, huh? Because like,
Yeah.
okay, sure, your front-facing stuff, fine, but like internal systems being down, that's kind of
Yeah,
like
that's
a
not affected by a DNS server. Not
yeah.
that I know of, unless there's a central server controlling all of those cards and access to the building. But
It's like all the people are
I
like,
don't
oh
think that's
yeah,
how that works.
there was one big like delete button and all of the code for Facebook was gone. That's not a thing.
That's not a
Nope,
thing.
nope. Decentralized for a reason. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, still kind of funny. It's a big egg on the face for Zucks and the team.
Yeah, and it doesn't. The timing was not great either. It was like that whistleblower was on
No,
60 Minutes the night before.
dude, it was. You could not have played that better. I don't know what happened. We're never gonna know what happened unless there's a
Never.
Senate hearing that goes WTF, mate, and then they have to like spill the beans in a sense. We're never gonna know. And like, what makes me laugh about it a little bit is like, there's so many applications I've built that like use Facebook for OAuth.
Yeah.
Like how many of those applications no longer worked? And granted, it's why you've seen like a big push for like for Apple to like say, hey, if you got to put up an app on the App Store, you're gonna have to have Apple authentication if you're gonna have another third-party authentication. That would have been, to me, that's like Apple kind of going, yeah, we did it. Look at that, we proved it. You have to do this for a reason, and I wouldn't be surprised if we come to find out like 10 years from now, like, oh, it was actually Tim Cook himself. Totally just
Yeah.
we know the great engineering mind that Tim Cook is. Just DDoS.
I mean, they won a marginal victory in court against was Epic
Yeah,
for Fortnite. So like, yeah, Facebook's the other like another behemoth that needs to be taken down by all powerful Apple.
Yeah. Now
Blink.
it's like
Slow
I
blink.
personally, I think the government is going to have, I don't know, they're going to have to do some kind of stepping in, because not necessarily for any particular reason other than trying to pretend that they can, control a company. They've given companies and corporations so much independence. There's really no way to take that back without a big fight.
Yeah.
But I'll be interested to see how it all shakes out, and over the coming months and years. But crazy days.
Yeah. Hey, Sean says, I hear that Facebook 100% ended WFH, which I think is work from home because of the outage.
That's crazy. So I guess that would make sense if there's no VPN access, right? You only get in on internal servers, but that would also lend to me that the problem came from working from home.
Yeah.
Like, say somebody's computer was stolen or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, but there are also safeguards for that, but
yeah,
it's just easier to say, come back to work.
Oh yeah. Now everybody's got CAC cards and stuff like that. They have to physically insert their system, put a pin in. But yeah, again, shout out to Dom. He's at his brother's bachelor party. It looks like Hey O'Shawn is suggesting salsa shots of tequila. I gotta warn you, Sean, if you're anywhere within 100 miles of that man, do not give him salsa shots. His bachelor party was off the rails after a band pulled him on stage and gave him several shots of whiskey before we started our game of bar golf.
And they tried to talk him into call his wife and say bad things. And I think I'm pretty sure I had to go up on the stage and physically take his phone. I got booed by the whole bar, but
you know what? Sorry, Bob.
No,
sorry. Or that was Mike.
It was Mike.
Right?
It was Mike. Yeah.
But no, man, it was definitely it definitely set the tone right for the night. And for those that don't know what bar golf is when you go to a bar and you play golf. If you have a drink, that's even. If you have two, that's a birdie. If you have nothing, that's a bogey, right? And then you go to 17 more bars and continue to play the game. Whoever has the best score at the end loses probably, and also wins at the same time. So Dom won that.
Hey, O'Shawn says, you're the hero Dom needs, not the one he deserves.
That's right. You are his white knight.
That's right.
Now, I'm not talking about the hair on your chinny chin chin. I need to trim mine. But moving right along, Alan Wake Remastered. Once again, another game has been remastered, reconditioned, and remade to be better than ever. But I still don't get it. I still, I can't bring myself to it. Just continue to buy more games, unless it's, Knights of the Old Republic, and then I'm
right.
Here's
so I played Alan Wake when it was on Xbox 360. So when it originally came out, and I loved it. It caught me. So I picked up the remaster, and because I understand. I'm older. I understand a little bit more about what's going on. Uh, I was sitting in my living room with the lights on. The the graphics are not scary, right? It's basically a human with like shadow stuff all over him, and the core game mechanic is that you shine a light on them to get rid of the shadow, and then you can shoot them and kill them. But what's scary about that game for me is the sound design. It's like on the verge of just you. It's just on the verge of like tipping over some sort of cliff. It's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's like this like weird like static and wind sound that's super intense, and like I was sweating playing it. Like I was like, this is really intense, even though the gameplay is not that intense.
Right.
And the visuals, I mean, the lighting adds to that kind of like creepy atmosphere. But it's for me, it's the sound design to that game is just incredible,
Do you
and the
feel like
story is great too.
it was coming from behind you a lot to kind of propel you forward in a sense? Or
Well, it made me feel a little bit claustrophobic almost, like it was all around me, like, and I don't have surround sound. This is just from shitty flat screen speakers, right?
yeah.
With the volume mostly down because my kids are asleep, and I was just like, I was playing like I said, sweating and like going, this is way more intense than I remember.
Just going, just constantly flapping your shirt at yourself, like,
Yeah, whew, I gotta put this down for a second.
I mean, hey, Sean. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Sound does really make good horror movies or games, and I'm going to bring up sound again later on for one of our new release discussions. Believe it or not, it definitely was probably the creepier part of that movie, even though it's not like a scary movie. It's just very much high intensity anxiety. You want to vomit at the end of it because you're having a panic attack, which is always good for me. I love that feeling.
And we can talk about sound design for What If as well, because there's some cool sound cues in that show.
Heck yeah. Boom, moving right along. Alan Wake. Now we're getting into a little bit more fun. Obviously, cartoons are always great, but this is the first console Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, or actually Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl on console. So they've been in the browser, they've been on mobile, and now this has been released out on let me see, we're on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC. This is it's always a fun thing for me when you have crossovers. And I say crossovers kind of loosely. I realize Nickelodeon was always kind of leading the way with a lot of these characters on here, but the Turtles, weren't they like a Fox property many years ago?
I think the original Turtles show was Fox, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so like this to me was kind of fun to see. It came out on Tuesday, and it was oddly timed with another announcement and two topics we'll talk about. So I kind of thought it was kind of a little punch in the face. Here's another like fighter game with all these different characters from all these different properties, and on the very same day it's getting released, we're just gonna fucking be Nintendo and drop our balls in your face with another announcement and just make this look like poop. But let's be honest though, like this game definitely hits a very specific demographic, and it's like, I don't know, 9 to 13, like, and that's if your parents are our age and you're like, dude, you're gonna love watching SpongeBob and Rugrats and Real Monsters and Ren and Stimpy, and like force them to relive all these older cartoons. But I haven't seen any gameplay of this yet, but I'm hoping for good things. I feel like they've got enough of a track record with those browser and mobile games. It can at least make something kind of fun.
Very cool. Yeah.
The next announcement here is probably not that massive, and it's full of remakes and remixes. Pretty much all the Kingdom Hearts are coming in Nintendo Switch, so that's cool. In general, like,
have you played Kingdom Hearts?
I watch people play. How about that? Does that count? I just watch people.
I've tried to play. I don't understand, but the audience is fierce for this game.
It's fun. Okay, like I love Disney, Pixar stuff. Gets me going. It's got Final Fantasy, some Square Enix properties in there. Specifically, it's got, obviously we got Final Fantasy, The World Ends With You, and the Einhander. Yeah, come on, Einhander. characters. And so like there's definitely elements I think that hits a lot of different demographics. Plus this is the HD versions. It's the HD 1.5, the 2.5 remix, the 2.8 final chapter prologue, and the third. So there's a lot I think of content that people can kind of go back through and enjoy if they hadn't played, or if they only say got a console that had number 3 on it or whatever, they can actually get the full story from the beginning. But like the movie, like the game, whenever I would watch it, was like always the very beginning and then always the very end, because my friends would play it like all night long, and then I'd see them the next day and they're like, yeah, I beat it. They're like, I'm never playing it again. I'm exhausted. I'm like, okay, fine.
Do we know if these editions are going to be separate in the Switch shop, or are they going to be bundled together?
That's a good question. I feel like if you're going to do it, you got to do it all at once. But I could see a cash grab being like, it's $20 a pop instead of $50 for 3. So we'll see what happens. But this leads right into our next one, which kind of leads into our past one. So on October 5th, the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl got announced. This was announced coming out on Nintendo Switch, and then we had Sora being announced as the last fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The little trailer was super epic. We got basically just Mario. It looks like he's reaching into fire, but it ends up being a fiery blade that he just slings into the ether. It suddenly turns into the Keyblade, which slaps into a giant lock. The lock keyhole opens up, and out comes flying what looks like a knocked out Sora, who ends up just looking majestic as shit and flying around the room for several minutes with a bunch of our other Smash Bros. Characters going, oh my god. Every reaction video I've seen for this, like they must have needed copious amounts of tissues afterwards. Like,
oh my god,
you know,
I saw so many people crying over this. This is
really,
and this is what I was. Yeah. I saw shorts of people like reacting to the reveal, just like, like I can't. I'm so sorry. Which is great, and this is why I said that the audience for this is super fierce for it, and like. To me, and this is kind of how I feel about Nintendo in general, they make amazing. They have amazing IP. They make amazing games. The hardware is fine. The Switch, took over.
Fine. The OLED Pro, I mean, whatever.
I to me, it feels it's always the Switch has always felt cheap. Like it flexes in my hands, and I have big hands, whatever. But if they would put out like a more high quality version of it, I'd be all about it. Anyway, they as a company, they tend to punch down a lot, and I realize that they're punching down on another corporation essentially with Nickelodeon and that game. But come on, man, Smash Brothers is a phenomenon. It is one of their biggest IPs.
Oh yeah,
that Nickelodeon game is not competition for Smash Brothers.
But they just put their thumb right on top of them.
It's almost like Kevin Feige saying that they're going to do Civil War after we find out that Warner Brothers is going to do Batman v Superman.
Right. Like, hey, we got you. Watch this.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that too, but we're going to do it better. Of course you are.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to do it better.
At what point do you just feel like you're just picking on the little guy? I mean, I guess that's how you kind of maintain when you hit the top of the mountain. To quote Nick Saban, you become the mountain, right? So now, and I don't mean a mountain like a physical rock. I mean like the mountain from Game of Thrones. You're just squashing people like bugs.
Squashing heads.
Yeah. Sorry, Mandalorian. Pedro Pascal.
If Dom's still on, he's crying right now. That was like, dude, that was his favorite character.
Fucked me up because I was definitely stoked. Of course, we all know the blade's poison, and it's wait. Yeah, my spoiler alert box here.
I don't know if we need a spoiler for a show that's like 8 years old at this point.
We all know the blade's poison. But no, it was definitely like, to me, that was definitely like the like, oh my god, the Red Wedding. People can say all they want. To me, his face being caved in, I had the worst kind of dreams. But I digress.
For sure.
That's not this. That's on this topic. It's the next one.